And I'm going to be moving us along at a brisk pace today. I've got another meeting I've got to be at and need to split early from this meeting before 11 a.m. So sorry if you're going to feel a little bit rushed, but that's the hand we are dealt today. So is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? And welcome, Josh.
I'm right here.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Sorry.
Who was that?
Go ahead, Stegmeyer, or item one.
No,
Sorry,
we're not quite
I'm on
there
my
for
phone,
item one. We're not quite there yet, Juanita. Is there any other public comment on items not on today's agenda? The one item I will mention is that Missoula County issued a press or media release this morning. Missoula County was the recipient of the 2021 National Association of Counties National Achievement Award for establishing the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. So good job, Missoula team.
Good job,
Dave.
And good job, Dave.
Team effort. 13 counties on board so far, with a few waiting in the wings. So,
is there? I wanted to say something on this day, but the echo is so terrible. I don't know. Am I?
You're sounding good.
Great. A huge team effort, and I also wanted to tell the world that this would not have happened were it not for your vision and commitment, and you deserve a ton of props for this. And a couple of years ago, no one would have believed that the rural-urban red-blue divide could be crossed at all. We were cemented in our trenches, and lo and behold, 2 years later, we have a rail authority built of counties who represent urban areas and rural areas and red areas and blue areas, united around the desire to see passenger rail restored to the southern tier of Montana. And we have Amtrak Joe in office and money set aside for rail, and the stars have aligned and we were timed correctly. And Dave, your vision and commitment have brought us to this point. Really excited for what the future brings. So thanks to you, Dave. Thanks to all who helped.
So well said, Josh. I think Chris has his hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Chris.
I do. Sorry, on an unrelated topic, commissioners, and this is on and noticed for Thursdays, a further discussion, but just wanted to get your direction. As you know, the bridge apartments were put onto the market. That is a project that Missoula County was involved in. It serves some of our lowest income residents who have both physical and mental disabilities. The city has reached out with the opportunity to potentially explore co-purchasing that facility to make sure that those residents continue to be housed. And I just wanted to get direction for staff, if it's all right for me to work with the city and on that project, and then bring back to you any proposal that might actually come from that work. So,
Chris, I think that MRA is involved, and hopefully they will be a big part of this. So there should be these three entities. And I did have some questions, and I don't know I sure hope that you can work on this for sure. But in digging around, my understanding, could be wrong, was that this was bought with public money given to Western Montana Mental Health many years ago. And I'm just wondering about how we buy something twice with public money.
So it was constructed with public funding with the requirement that there be a period of affordability associated with those. That period has expired, which at that point the property transfers, those restrictions kind of come off the title. And so that leaves the owner of the property free to do with it as they choose once that encumbrance is removed.
So Chris, here's a question, and this, I'm totally okay with beginning the dialogue of what to do here, because it would be an unacceptable outcome for these residents to be displaced and essentially homeless while that would be the true irony in all of this, as we're trying to address this broader issue of people unhoused in our community. But has anyone just been blunt with Western Montana Mental Health and asked them, why don't you just hang on to it? This is maybe not the time to contemplate divestiture, if you will.
Yeah, so that would be part of the conversations we need to have, Dave, but I just want to make sure the commission's on board with me participating in that. So
for sure. Absolutely, Chris. And what I've heard is that in the name of saving money, they didn't do deferred maintenance. They charge very little in rent, which is a great thing. And this thing loses money. And they're an organization that has to meet their budget, and they're losing money. And I totally appreciate what you have to say, Chris, about the period of affordability, and that's very helpful. And there's something hard to swallow about a large facility purchased twice with public money, which is kind of what it looks like we're about to do.
I understand.
So I think that's, Juanita, are you okay with Chris
Absolutely.
moving forward?
Yes,
Okay.
go forth, Chris.
Have those conversations.
Thank
And again,
you.
we'll have this same conversation again on Thursday. I just was not able to get it on for today's admin, but I do need to get started on that. So hopefully by then I'll either have more, or we'll have this shortly again. Thanks.
The folks that live there cannot be let loose. They need housing.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
Thank
There
you.
go. Thanks, Chris. Okay, let's roll right into our action items now. John Stegmeyer, or are you on the line?
It's Juniper.
It's
Juniper,
Juniper
okay.
again. It's
Juniper
standing in for
again.
John because he's in transition still to his new position. So this is our 2021 Park Steward Award proclamation. We're, of course, excited every year when we're able to give this award, and this year we're giving it to a really worthy recipient. Clayton Burtsfield, who is a longtime American Legion baseball supporter and was instrumental decades ago in helping to build out the facility that's now at our Missoula County Big Sky Park. So the proclamation you have before you today, hopefully you'll sign, and we will frame that and present that to Clayton tomorrow at a ceremony that we will have in concert with the Mavericks home baseball game out at the Dale Dahlgren's baseball complex there out at Missoula County's Big Sky Park. That's at 6:45. And then we also put a press release out about this yesterday. And so that's got a lot of good information in it about Clayton's background. So potentially we could get some good attention out of this because he's certainly a worthy recipient. And I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions.
Thanks, Juniper. Any questions? And
No.
yeah, it's not usual that we vote to sign proclamations, but since it's listed as such, do I have a motion to sign the proclamation?
I move to sign the proclamation, and thanks, Dave. I think you're presenting it tomorrow, right?
That's my understanding.
I am. So someone else will need to help shepherd along the all community council meeting.
Yes.
That's Juan.
Excellent. So we have
Yeah.
a motion.
I'll second this motion.
Okay, any further discussion on the proclamation? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Juniper.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, John Hart. You don't see this every day. We have bylaws related to the Seeley Lake Cemetery District.
Yeah, Commissioners, this is John Hart with the County Attorney's Office, and I am bringing to you today some bylaws, like you just said, from the Seeley Lake Cemetery District. The Seeley Lake has its own cemetery district. They have one of the world's most beautiful cemeteries. As you're coming off the elk refuge, just before you get into the Clearwater Canyon there's a beautiful cemetery off to the right-hand side. And they have been in existence since at least 1996, perhaps longer. And for the price of a gourmet burger, property owners in Seeley Lake have their own cemetery. And they'll let people from outside the district be buried there. So if you're looking for a plot, don't hesitate to contact the district. Go up and look at the cemetery. It would be a beautiful place to spend forever. But there are 3 brand new board members on that comprise the cemetery district. Their names are, for the record, Barbara Knopp, Wendy Green, and Mary Ellen Stube. And one of the first things that they did as a newly appointed board was to draft some new bylaws. There were some bylaws that were in existence. They're on the county's webpage. They're not dated. They're very old. They are not up to the task of the board in the 21st century. And this highly functioning group of women have put together a fine set of bylaws that I've reviewed, Sarah Bell has reviewed, and I recommend that the Board of County Commissioners also approve these bylaws and adopt them for the cemetery district. I'm happy to answer any questions about them or give more information, but in the interest of time, I'll stop talking.
Well,
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. So John, you just rattled off some people that I trust a ton, you and Sarah Bell. And so I would move we pass these bylaws.
Second, but it's not an elk refuge. It's just wanted to clarify.
I know it's the wildlife range, it's the game range. I know. I almost called it the bison range, Juan. So I got it a little bit better.
There's some federal control issues there, John.
I have seen elk. I've seen elk there, so they're elk are in the mix. So
Blackfoot Clearwater Game Range, yeah, they're fantastic. So second, yes,
okay,
and a great board. They're really lucky to have this group of folks.
indeed they are.
Talented cemetery board.
True cemetery professionals. I remember interviewing one of them. Was very impressed.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
Commissioners, before you go on, I've had a request to see if we can hear item number 6 next. That is the request the board approve and sign the settlement agreement with the IRS. Is that something the board can do? There's several people on the line for that. If that item can be taken next, I think they would appreciate it.
Let's take item 6 next. And who would like to present on this?
Yeah, who's the presenter?
Thanks, Dave. I'm going to introduce the presenter. Can you guys hear me and see me okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
We've talked at length about the issues that have surrounded the 2018 vote by Sheriff Retirement System members with regard to paying into Social Security. And we've had a big, long saga with the IRS the past year or so with regard to detention officers and the Social Security Administration's determination that they should not have been excluded from Social Security with the other SRS members. So we have Katina Peterson here today. Katina is the partner of the tax group with Dorsey and Whitney. She has shepherded us through a process with the IRS to resolve a situation that could have been pretty significant with regard to risk exposure for the county and for our employees. We're here to present to you a settlement agreement that Katina is going to talk through with you, as well as some IRS forms. So take it away, Katina.
Okay, thank you, Anna, and thanks for having me here today. I'm going to start with the closing agreement, which is the 3-page document that's titled Closing Agreement. And this is effectively a contract with the Internal Revenue Service that is a final determination of the specific matters that are covered by the agreement. As Anna explained, this is the culmination of a pretty long process that we've been working through with the IRS that started with an audit of 2 quarters in 2016. This agreement resolves not only those 2 quarters, but it also resolves really all of 2016 through the second quarter of 2021. And on page 2 of the agreement, the binding terms begin, and there's really there's several important things that result from the closing agreement. One, with respect to 2016, the IRS is going to grant refunds relating to the 2 quarters for deputies and will deny the refunds relating to those 2 quarters for detention officers. For detention officers, the IRS is agreeing in paragraphs 3 through 6 that it will not assess Social Security tax with respect to detention officers for quarter 4 of 2018, all of 2019, all of 2020, and quarter 1 of 2021. So the statute of limitations is open for the IRS to make those assessments of Social Security tax, but they're agreeing in this agreement that they will not pursue those assessments. Paragraph 7, also very important, and I know everyone knows this, but there were lots of refunds already issued. So quarter 2 and quarter 4 of 2016, all of 2017, and quarters 1 through quarter 3 of 2018, refunds were issued to both detention officers and deputies. In paragraph 10, the IRS is agreeing not to claw those refunds back with respect to detention officers. They won't ask, which means they won't ask them to pay the refunds back, even though they should have been paying Social Security. So the rest of the agreement really relates to the fact that this is a full and complete resolution of the years and the issue that are discussed in paragraphs basically 1 through 8. What goes along with this agreement are the 2 tax forms that Anna mentioned. Tax forms, the forms are Form 2297 and Form 3363. These forms relate specifically to the audit of quarter 1 and quarter 3 of 2016. And effectively, the 2 forms will permit the IRS to process those refund claims. The claims are going to be allowed for deputies, and the claims are going to be denied for detention officers. And the other piece in the closing agreement for the denial of the detention officer claims for refund, the county is agreeing that that is the final determination. It's not going to appeal those 2 quarters to detention officers. Anna, do you think, do you want to explain anything more, or should we just take questions?
We've talked at length the last month or so about this situation with the commission in public meetings, and so
Okay.
I feel like if there's any questions, now's the time.
Thank you. Thanks for that overview, both of you.
Sure.
Questions from the commission?
I don't have a question, just a comment. The IRS is not known for being flexible, and it looks like you guys were able to get them to flex. So good job.
Yeah, I think this is a really good resolution for sure. I think we've talked about this, the best resolution that the county could have gotten. And it was a really bad situation, and the IRS recognized that and recognized that the county was sort of were brought through a process by state Social Security that, caused some problems. And so I think the IRS just wanted to put this issue behind everybody. So it's a good result.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. When I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be way worse than it actually has come out to be.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anna and Katina.
Yeah,
It does look like the deputies will be wanting to vote again without the detention officers, because we now know detention officers have to be included in Social Security, and the deputies are not included unless they vote to be included. And I believe that you guys will be getting a request from the deputies to ask the governor for another vote just for deputies to be included in Social Security. So more to come, but hopefully this time the DOA will not lead us astray, and we'll have it done the right way.
Thanks, Anna.
Yeah, thanks, Anna, and thanks, Katina. And I want to go on record as saying thanks to the IRS.
That will be the last time you issue that thanks, I'm sure. So
I
a
motion to,
oh, good.
a motion to request the board approve and sign the settlement agreement with the IRS to complete the audit of Social Security refunds for deputy sheriffs.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion or comment? Public comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So if Anna, members of the media who are on the line here have any follow-up questions, would you be the point person to answer those?
Yep, that'd be fine, Dave. And
Okay.
if you could just make sure that I get a hold of those signed documents, once they're signed, then I can get them back to Katina. And there will be a little bit of a lag time because the IRS is not going to sign this until the end of the quarter that ends June 30th, when we pay our withholdings for the current quarter. So you won't see a fully executed agreement for a little while, but once we get it, we'll get it recorded.
Yes, I would expect nothing less than lag time with the IRS, so.
And Anna, just so it's very clear, it's not only the closing agreement that should be signed and dated, but it's also the two forms. So Form 2297 and Form 3363.
We
Great,
will
thanks.
sign everything that comes our way. Annie?
Well, Annie, Kathy,
Yes, I just want to make sure, Anna, were all of those documents included in the packet?
Yep.
looks like
And is it okay for them to sign electronically?
I don't know the answer to that.
Katina?
You know, the IRS has been issuing some guidelines on what electronic signatures are permissible. I have not seen anything relating to closing agreements. It would be better if we could get ink signatures.
we're all here today. We can.
We're all here today, so we can knock that out.
Does it
Okay,
matter-
that's great.
Does it matter what color ink?
David has
We
to
And I
only
be
only
like
say that
blue.
half tongue in cheek. Okay,
No, I always recommend blue ink, but there's no rules relating to that, no.
okay. Well, Annie, if, to be better safe than sorry, if you want to put a blue pen next to whatever we have to sign, we'll do it.
Will
Okay.
do.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. And Annie, just let me know if you
Yeah.
have questions during the signature process today.
Thank you. Will do. Thank you, Anna. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Yep, thank you. I'll sign off.
Thanks, Katina.
Okay. Very good, thank you.
Bye-bye. Yep, bye-bye.
Okay, going back to our original order, item number 3, we have a request to approve and authorize the chair to sign a looks like Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services task order. Colleen.
Hi, this is Colleen. I manage the immunization clinic at the health department, and this is our yearly IAP, so task order with the state. So we are requesting that the board approves and that the chair signs this task order that just provides us with about $45,500 to assist with operations in the immunization clinic. Those include, of course, vaccinating all ages of kids. This is really related to routine vaccines, and unlike some others that I've brought forward to you, some amendments recently, not related specifically to COVID. So it is just routine immunizations. Nothing appears to have changed in this contract from previous years. It looks very similar. It includes reviewing childcare immunization records, school immunization records to the extent that the law now allows us to do that. So we'll kind of figure that out. Just operate the clinic as we normally do. So yeah, no big changes. And I think that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions or a motion?
I would move that we sign this task order.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks, Colleen.
Thank you.
Okay, from immunizations to the build project. Shane, we have a construction easement for parcel NJ3.
Yeah. Do you want me to cover these two items together, Dave?
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. So MJ3 is, and maybe I'll share my screen really quick just so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me know if you can, if and when you can see that.
We got it.
Perfect. All right. So MJ3 is down here. It's basically a temporary construction easement provided by HEH LLC. It's a 10-foot construction easement on either side of Mary Jane, right in this area. So that's the MJ3 parcel. And then I'll take you up to the MJ11. So the MJ11 parcel is a temporary construction easement provided by Rocky Mountain Beverage of Montana LLC. And it's basically a 10-foot wide strip for construction and during construction on Mary Jane. So those are the two temporary construction easements. Any questions on those?
Any questions?
No. I
No.
motion to sign both temporary construction easements for MJ3 and Rocky Mountain Beverage. Is that right?
MJ11? Yeah. Okay.
MJ11. Sorry. Thanks.
I would second that.
Okay, any further discussion or comment on items 4 and 5? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Thank
Aye.
you.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
Item 7, a request to approve the amendment to section 3 and exhibit B of the employment agreement between Sarah Horn and PHC. Chris, anything to add here?
No, these are modifications for hours and rate of pay. That's the sections that it's talking about. So it's a standard employment agreement that they're just making an amendment to.
Excellent. Questions? Should we do it?
Josh looks very,
Absolutely.
very.
Absolutely.
Josh says absolutely. What do you think,
I
Juanita?
mean,
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on this rather controversial item? Seeing none, all in favor?
I
Aye.
gotta keep Sarah Horn.
Yes.
Okay. Go
So,
forward and
and-
do good work.
Commissioners, if I could ask, Josh, I believe it was you who made the motion for the IRS. Could you just move that to be the chair to sign?
Yes, I would move that the chair sign.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. Without objection, it is done. The chair will sign that. Okay, correspondence. Any correspondence we need to deal with? All right, how about let's go into discussion items here. A sidewalk on Expressway along Canyon Creek Village. Dory, is this something you're going to discuss with us? Or someone out there, does someone want to talk about the sidewalk on Expressway?
Dory's muted if it is Dory.
Can you hear me?
We
There
can hear you now.
Okay.
Not very well.
You're intermittent.
It's intermittent, just like the sidewalk apparently is on Expressway.
I can help her out a little bit.
Yeah, Jason, throw us a lifeline here.
Yeah. So we have a sidewalk out at Expressway that's 120, 140 feet long. That's in our easement. We own it. It's part of the county. It's tore up real bad. We went out, we had an initial price of about $65,000 to replace the whole sidewalk. We brought in somebody from TerraTech, the geoengineer. They came out, did some testing of the ground. The soil underneath it is really bad. If we replace what's there, just basically pull out and put back what's there, it'll do the same thing again fairly fast. It's just a bunch of clay underneath there. So they gave us a spec on what they'd expect us to do, which would be dig down about 16 inches, put a geofabric in, put in on top of that 12 inches of crushed concrete, and then on top of that, we'd put 4 inches of gravel on top of that, and then pour the new sidewalk, and that should help protect it and allow it to last a lot longer than it did already. And that's what the bump is from the initial $65,000 or $60,000 to replace the sidewalk to now it's up around 90,000. I don't have the exact numbers, but they took some rods out there. You can take a steel rod. They just took a steel rod and pushed down on it by hand, and it went 4 feet into the ground, straight clay.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
So how is it that this is Missoula County's responsibility for the sidewalk here?
And now
Can you-
Dory's back.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, great. So that's really, It's because the adjacent property belongs to Missoula County, so that makes us responsible for it.
What is the adjacent property? Is it park or
It
park?
is. It is. For some reason, as usual, I'm having trouble sharing my screen, which I planned to do, but right past the technology district is Canyon Creek Village. And at one point that belonged to the county. I mean, and then was annexed into the city. But like some other areas, the green area between Expressway and the housing is considered Missoula County Park.
All the more reason to unload those
I
parcels.
know we got the short end of the stick on some of these things.
We did. And
Is it a drainage area, or like what is that space?
It primarily is a drainage area. Thank you. So the green part all in front of, like I say, Expressway to the housing is owned by Missoula County. So how we became aware of it is because it's in the city jurisdiction. Juniper, because Juniper received a letter from the city saying we needed to replace and repair. And so it's been, I think, about a year now. We've been kind of trying to figure it out. Initially, it looked to be about, I mean, just off the cuff estimate I got was $20,000. So we finally got the contractor out there to review it. Only half of it is approximately half is required by the city to be repaired. But Jackson's review was we should replace, you know, that whole strip. I went out and looked at it and I'd agree. I mean, it'll be another year or two before the city sends us another letter on the other part. So with Andrew, we talked about it, and it, obviously as this price has gone up significantly, thought it was important to bring it to the commission before, you know, I said we'll have to go out now for a couple bids, which we didn't think we were going to have to do.
How long will it last, or Jason, like this repair in such a area?
And when were these built? I mean, it's crazy. I have 100-year-old sidewalk in front of my house.
So yeah, you've got good dirt under your sidewalk. These buildings have been in there for, I'd say this is probably 15 or 20 years. And length of time to last, we need it's a guess, but doing it proper, obviously it should extend it a lot longer than it did. This has been an ongoing issue for multiple years. This isn't something that just kind of snuck up. We just got notice of it, but this sidewalk just didn't fail over the last year. This has been failing for a while.
Right.
But I would suspect that this is going to be a 15 or 20 years fix minimum, if not a 100-year sidewalk like Dave has. So, but it's not good ground underneath it. And we're going to do the best with what the geoengineer has spec'd would give us the best opportunity to prolong its life in the future.
And so this is the best place for a sidewalk. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, there's no other way around this. There's no other design. I mean, if we're just kind of in it and we're going to keep fighting this thing every 15 years. Is that what we're up against?
Ideally, Juanita, this prepping it and doing it properly will allow us to have this last a lot longer than 15 years. So I'm familiar with this fabric. A house I built 20 years ago, the excavator didn't do it right, put it right on top of clay, similar to this situation. My driveway would heave like 3 inches in the wintertime when it froze underneath. So I had to hire another contractor to come in, pull the whole thing out. They put this geofabric down. They put the gravel down. They did everything that they're talking about here. And to my knowledge now, 15, 17 years later, it doesn't heave anymore. The driveway's in good take. It worked well. So personal experience, I would say that what they're talking about, I'm obviously not a geoengineer, but what they're talking about is exactly what happened at my house with a similar situation.
Great, thank you.
And I'm hoping that over the next 15 years, Missoula County is no longer the owner of these parcels.
Oh my gosh. That's a,
Ex-
need to
yes.
embark on a divestment program.
Well, and one of the things I think important for a number of reasons for you to have this information, but as you go down the development park, there are other similar situations. And we have repaired sidewalk previously when we had some TIF funds, which we don't have. And so John and Hart and Juniper and I have had numerous conversations and looking at ideas of how to divest the county of these. And I assume they will keep having those.
So this is, Dory, this is just a discussion item today. How will this next be coming before us, and how will we be paying for this?
Well, it will come next to you in the form of a contract. We'll have to go back as a price increase. The bidding procedure has changed, so we'll need to review that and make sure we're going through proper procedures. And then I'll pass it on to Andrew for how are we going to pay for it.
Andrew, how are we going to pay for it?
I don't have a real good idea yet, Dave.
Okay. Okay, that's why it's a discussion item today, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good enough. We'll hold it right there. Any other questions for anyone on this item today? Okay, thanks, Dory.
Thanks, Dory.
Oh,
Thank Anything
you.
else before we adjourn? Any other items? Okay, good enough. Thanks, everyone. We made pretty good time here today. So have a
Well
have
done,
a great
Dave.
afternoon.
Thanks, Dave.
All right,
Thanks,
goodbye.
everybody.